I don't know if I've heard it or someone mentioned this recently. The fascia takes like 12 weeks or something to restructure. I don't know if that holds like truth and legitimacy, but how long does it take to actually change and restructure your fascia? And then I'm also
3 days.
3 days?
Yes.
Could you talk to us about that a bit?
And I've seen it way too much in my practice for me to really be convinced of anything else. Okay. Like clockwork, somebody comes in, uber amounts of pain. Okay. Back, knee, hip, shoulder, neck, whatever. Okay. I work on them and I tell them, I say, you're going to feel your best in 3 days. Okay. Sometimes even if I don't say that, that's when they do feel their best. In some cases, they'll wake up the very next day and they'll actually have a little bit more pain, a little bit more difficulty moving. I move fascia around in the body very, very quickly. When pain is protection, okay, number one, when you move tissue around that quickly, I think I talked to you about this right before we did. So I come on the podcast and let's say I take the bottle of Mind Bullet and I just throw it off to the side. And you and Mark are looking at me like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then I take just the grip over here and I throw it off and I hit Andrew with it. And Mark will be like, okay, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, don't be weird. And then I reach for Mark's drink over here. He's going to grab my hand and be like, don't do that. Okay. Yeah. And then you're going to be like, oh God, Chris is going to get killed right now. Like, what is he doing? So because pain is protection, fascia is the ultimate protector. Okay. When you open up tissue really, really quickly, that's what the body senses. I'm already reaching for the can right here. Okay. And the body's like, oh gosh, I've been arranged like this for a really long period of time. I'm trying to make sure that we don't get hurt. And you're taking that away. Okay. So you wake up the next day and you might be in a little bit more pain because the body's like, please don't go and deadlift 400. Don't break out into a 40-meter sprint. Okay. I'm still trying to figure out if what we did to the body was good. Day 2, they wake up and not only has the pain improved considerably, but they can move well. Day 3, they wake up, the pain in most cases will be completely gone and they're moving like they were, a very long time ago with a lot more freedom, I guess you could say. But every single time that I work on somebody for the first time, it's 3 days. 3 days where the body takes to kind of get the housekeeping in order. And it audits itself, fascia audits itself through movement. That's just what it comes down to. The first thing, if you hurt yourself playing sports to an extent where it's not really that bad, what's everybody's first inclination? Jump up, walk it off. Jump up, shake it off, right? You jump up, something happened in that tackle, okay? You jump up and you start running around, galloping or looking kind of silly, whatever type of movements you're doing. And what is fascia in the brain doing? Okay, how much are we hurt? Where are we hurt? Is this serious type of a thing? All right. So that's really what it comes down to. I don't think I would be in business very long if it took 12 weeks for the fascia to rearrange itself. Okay. I can work on somebody 1 or 2 times and the tissue will constantly remodel for up to 12 weeks. All right. I've worked on people where obviously, they come to my home and I work on them and then I don't see that they go back to, I don't know, Montreal, New York City, LA, Texas. And they'll be like, stuff 6-7 months later, stuff is still moving around in my body. Okay. And all of that, when you release such a big problem area, okay, it's kind of like, if we come over here and I'm going to take Mark's shirt, okay, and maybe this is like a light adhesion right here. That's not a big deal. Okay, but been benching for 40 years, something like that, 46 years. He was benching in the womb, everybody, right? So now all of a sudden that adhesion gets really, really big, and you can see
everything's pulling towards that spot.
Now we got problems with the left shoulder. Like this is really bad. Okay, so as I apply pressure in there and I get everything to kind of calm down, the more that he moves and the more that he exercises, that's gonna the fascial web, everything's gonna start to work itself out. if he does a little bit more self-care and things like that out of my presence, he's going to continue to be able to open that adhesion up, bench a lot better, a lot stronger, okay? And the body always wants to go to health. The body always wants that equilibrium. It's always seeking to be taken care of. One of the things that we've just never been taught going through school is how to take care of ourselves. How to take care of. I mean, I would much rather take this than like accounting or something like that. I mean, I gave up on exercise science, my undergrad, because I couldn't get past stuff like organic chem and calculus. And I'm like, I don't need this with it. Why do I need this with exercise science? Like I just want to learn about how to become like a stud trainer or something like that.
Hey, I know you're enjoying this episode, but listen up. We partner with Merrick Health. They're a telehealth network owned by Derek for more plates, more dates. But literally, the amazing thing about Merrick Health and getting your labs done with them is that when you get your labs done, you work with a client care coordinator that goes over your labs and gives you specific supplementation or nutrition protocols or potentially hormonal protocols for your levels. The problem with a lot of these other telehealth networks is that when they do these things, they give everybody the same exact things, which actually can hurt you long-term more than help you. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, that's over at MarrickHealth.com. That's MAREK Health.com. And if you already know what labs you want to get at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject10 to save 10% off all of those labs. If you don't know where to start, head over to MarrickHealth.com/PowerProject. And you guys will get directed straight to the Power Project panel that has 26 different labs that will cover everything you need. And at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save $101 off of that panel. Again, MarrickHealth.com, links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Yeah, physical education is a real mess. It should just be like physical care. You know, you should be able to figure out, like, because all they do is a lot of times they just expose you to some sports. And nowadays they're not even really doing that. They just have kids walk around a track looking at their phones.
Yeah.
Andrew, can you bring up the clip of my brother? I emailed it to you. So on day one, when Chris was in here, he was working on my brother Chris, and he was like, I think I can get full range of motion in this shoulder by Saturday. And I was just thinking like, wow, a lot of people have said all kinds of crazy things coming to help us out. But I was like, this is really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with my brother's shoulder, because it's been locked up for so long. And here we are just a couple days out, and my brother is able, he's doing these pull-ups.
I didn't see that. That was crazy.
This is insane for Chris.
Are you sure he didn't? This is like camera trick. Did he edit this somehow?
Yep. No, he's doing it. He's
wow.
And you know, like his arm is still like stuck because there's so many other body parts involved. When an area sort of quote unquote dies, like that area has been shut down for a long time. And he's been trying to do stuff. It's not like he hasn't been active. It's not like he hasn't been doing like lateral raises and rotator cuff work. And it's not like he hasn't been practicing stuff. But it's very, very difficult when you don't know how to solve your own problem and when you're also in a lot of pain. Like a lot of people listening to this show right now are thinking, man, yeah, when I'm in pain, I just avoid the area.
Yeah.
Like especially when
one of the biggest mistakes.
Yeah, when you first get hurt, you know, when you first tweak something, you're like, man, I'm not even gonna think about that one. I'm just gonna do everything for today like that avoids me getting into a compromised position to feel that pain. So this is an amazing testimonial right here, seeing my brother be able to move around like this, and I think it's pretty fucking awesome. But that was 3 days. That was 3 days worth of work. 3 days worth of work.
And you know what I find also amazing, Chris, and we'll talk more about this too, is like, you know, you have multiple books, and you told me start off with the Back Pain Bible. Because what I was thinking is like, okay, cool. He worked on me here. You gave me some tools with the barbell, but I'm like, well, what can I do, or what do people need to be doing? Because they're not always going to have you or their physical therapist to work on them every single day.
Right.
And in that book, you talk about like all these different tools and ways to use those tools. And it's just this is something that it takes work. In the past, when I read Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett, I was rolling on my freaking supernova, and I was doing stuff every day. And when I got to a certain point where everything was like, I was like streamlined for a while, as everything was good, I was like, I stopped because I didn't think that I needed it as much. But now I'm getting back to doing that type of work every day, and my body's feeling even better. But the great thing is that for the listeners there, you can do a lot of this stuff on your own. You can find different adhesions. Like I was in the sauna the other day and I was just going over my foot and feeling, oh, this is a spot that's kind of bumpy on my right foot. I don't feel this on my left foot. Let me just fucking grind that shit out. Or I was sitting on top of the Supernova and I was feeling some stuff in my right hamstring that I wasn't feeling in my left hamstring. So let me work this shit out. Like you pretty much, it's like a kid discovering themselves. You got to play with yourself a little bit and figure out what's off and what's right.
Poke around.
Just poke around, audit the body, you know, and remember when he was laying on his stomach after he had hurt himself, I told you, I said, look at the hamstring, how it's bound up and high, right? And he just said, I was getting in my right hamstring and I'm feeling weird stuff and it's not in my left side. Okay, and here's the thing I tell people, when you're looking for stuff in the body that may be adhered to, it's anything lumpy, bumpy, okay? Anything tight, tender, sore. Obviously, don't go and roll on your gonads, okay? Something like,
why does this hurt so much?
This hurts and there's a bump, you know? Don't do that. In the same respect, I tell people, like, if you go and play basketball and you hear something pop in your knee and you can barely move it and it's really inflamed, don't be like, oh, I'm going to go foam roll this shit out. I'm going to be better tomorrow. Okay, like then you need to go see a doctor. Okay, but if there's no pop or anything like that, and you get maybe just a little bit of inflammation, number one, more than likely, okay, it's not going to be the joint. Number two, look upstream or downstream, like Kelly Starrett would say. You look in the quad, look in something like the peroneal complex, something like that, maybe the soleus, whatever, and see if there's anything tight, tender, or sore in there. See if you can feel anything where it goes from normal jelly tissue to all of a sudden it's like you hit this lump. And I mean, several times when I was gliding on you, Mark, it's like really nice and then kerplunk, back up again, glide really nice, kerplunk. Okay, it's like that's the way tissue is supposed to feel. And I mean, I got a master's degree and went all the way up to like physiology 610. I was never taught or told about anything about adhesions. I was never taught about fascia. I was never taught about fibrosis, trigger points, things like that. And when it came time for me to heal my own pain, and I started to realize that all these things existed, it made me even question our educational system, because I'm like, I got a master's in kinesiology, for Christ's sakes. How come this was not taught to me? Because this is pretty important. It's pretty important. And it's kind of like utopia, right? To think that with just a couple of tools, we can take care of our own bodies and we may potentially never need the care of anybody else ever again, right? Like people just think like, no, there's no way that I could do that. And it doesn't take that much thought. It doesn't take that much time. It doesn't take that much money, okay? But what it does take, like you said, is some work.
And consistency.
You take a day off, it's like taking a week off. You take a week off, it's like taking a month off. When you're initially trying to get out of pain. But then you get to a specific point where, you know, I had knee pain for 14 years. And I just rolled my quads out yesterday for the first time in maybe 2 months. Okay, where for some reason my body was just like, dude, just roll the quads out. And I had a pretty long stint on the Echo bike the day before. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to roll my quads out today. And I mean, it felt fantastic. Okay, so you can get to that point, but what the system is going to tell you is that we can give you a pill, a shot, or surgery, and it'll be gone tomorrow. So that's what everybody has in their mind. Like, why do I have to work at this so much? This isn't right. This can't be right. It should happen faster. But you're 62 years old and you've had that pain for the last 18 years. And you don't think that taking a year out of your life to open that area up and create and return it to health is the right way to go about things. You'd rather get the pill, the shot, or the surgery.
And the problem isn't, it's not gone.
Correct.
It didn't go anywhere.
Correct. It went somewhere else.
Power Project family, a lot of the guys in the audience said that they hate me whispering, so I won't whisper anymore. I'll just whisper here again. So go ahead and comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out all our sponsors here in the bio or the description. Okay? All right. Bye.